So, what can leaders do to add value when facing unprecedented dilemmas? And how can you lead effectively in a turbulent environment? Hi, everybody. I'm Priya Raghuvarpu. I'm a data and analytics leader, and for the most part, I love to talk about data, innovation, analytics, and leadership. In today's talk, I first want to share why and how organizations face turbulence or chaos. And then I want to talk about what leaders can do to emerge out of the chaos through self-organizing. And this is not all made up by me. This is actually well researched, and I'll share my sources in the description for further reading. Now, first question is why organizations find themselves in the midst of chaos and turbulence. And mind you, chaos and turbulence is not a function of a size of an organization. Very large companies can run as a well-oiled enterprise, and very small companies can suffer in organization turmoil. So why does this occur in any organization of any size? And to understand this, we need to talk about an agreement certainty matrix. And if you imagine 4 quadrants with x-axis as a measure of certainty, left being the most certain to farthest right being the most uncertain, and y-axis being the axis for agreement, with the lower end having most agreement and upper end having the least agreement. Scenario 1. In organizations, if leaders are certain of what is needed to be done and how to achieve it, and when the leaders are in agreement to do so, then there is a rational decision making, and the focus is on effective execution with proper monitoring. Now, the scenario 2 is when either certainty or agreement, one of those is lacking, then things get complicated. It is still not classified as turbulence. So when leaders are in agreement, but then there is high uncertainty, then you need judgmental decision making, and focus needs to be on desired future state. But when there is certainty and lack of agreement, then the state warrants political decision making, and the focus needs to be on negotiation and diplomacy. This scenario is complicated for sure, but this is your average typical workplace. Either there is uncertainty or lack of agreement, and you need to use the right tool in your arsenal to achieve the results. Now, the last scenario is the most complex one of all, and that's when there is high uncertainty and what is done, and a minimal agreement on the path forward. And this is the definition of chaos. This warrants complex decision making. And now that we know under what circumstances chaos prevails in an organization, now let me share how you effectively lead your teams and organization through this. Now, if you read about chaos theory, in first case, it states that during chaos, system passes through a period of oscillation cycles and until it self-organizes. And this is when people naturally adapt to this state with time, and people just find a new groove for them and what works for them. And the second case, there should be strange attractors, and that can absorb the chaos and to self-organize. In mathematical terms, the attractor possesses, it's like a limit function. And the chaos theory says if you leave chaos for so long, things will self-organize. So there should be some limits that should force the system to self-organize, and your people will work creatively to do something substantial and say enough is enough and make some drastic changes. In either of those scenarios, the system of chaos pivots to a self-organizing state. Now, leaders can't and should not just stand by and watch the chaos unfold, and there will be a lot of collateral damage. If so, what should leaders do in this case of high uncertainty and lack of agreement? And in this case, traditional management approaches fail and fall flat. Traditional management style is management by instruction or management by objectives, like giving orders or defining objectives do not address dealing with the changes to fundamental philosophy of, consequently then fail to help organizations in turbulent times. So what is imperative in turbulent times is management by values. Management by values does not mean we forget about the objectives What management by values mean? Values are of two groups: final value and instrumental value. Final value is something you can consider as an overarching value, something that's part of your mission statement, the true North Star, so to speak. Instrumental values are the values that drive you toward the final value. And instrumental values can be categorized into two groups: ethical values and competence values. Now, ethical values refer to your code of conduct. These are social values like honesty, sincerity, loyalty, competence, and competence values are more individualistic, like creativity, flexibility, intelligence, technical competency. And value-based leadership is the framework. It's the glue that holds an organization when confronted with the chaos and a need for change. So if you detect a state of chaos, only transformational leadership driven by shared values is what an organization needs. I've posted the sources of my research and the certainty agreement matrix chart in the comments below for your reference. Just remember, traditional leadership style does not work during turbulent times. And I hope what I have shared here helps you. And thank you so much.